Welcome to Cancer and Peace Moments. This is Peter. These moments are 15-minute clips of the larger episodes. Blessings.
Nancy, I'm going to kick it off back to you. It's like, hey, what do you think people should know about trauma, your body? What do you think is important to kick off? And whatever that is, I think we've already talked about, that it was probably applicable to everyone, including cancer patients, but especially, I think people just helping to understand and know their bodies better. I think what you have to share will be really helpful.
Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you so much for inviting me here. And like I said before, I come really with a very humble posture because I don't really know what it's like, to have cancer and like what Peter just described. So what I hope is what I have learned, the knowledge that I'm going to share, somehow Jesus will use that and that you guys will run with it, right? And and so I think what I want to do upfront is to give a very objective definition of trauma. Because we use that word is so overused. So what does it even mean? Okay, and some people say, no, I don't have trauma because nothing big ever happened in my life. And we also see two people go through exactly the same event. You could say it's a traumatic event, but one person come out totally fine and the other person come out like just falling apart. And so it becomes very difficult to define what trauma is. And so this past 2 years, I am being schooled by Dr. Amy Apagian, and she is a medical doctor, functional medicine doctor, and she studied trauma a lot because she adopted a foster care child who need a lot of help. But anyway, so I've been schooled by her, and so I'm going to give maybe a rather unique definition of trauma, but it will be so objective that when you understand it, then you can see how that applies to you. And so before I even get into the definition of trauma, I want to talk a little bit about the anatomy of our brain, how very high level, how God created our brain to work. Right? So I know people who are listening, you can't see me, but if you can put your hand up, like your palm facing you, and like a vertical, your elbow is to your stomach, right? And then you fold your thumb in, and then you fold the other 4 fingers in. Okay. So basically you're making a fist, but like your thumb is inside and not outside. So let's just pretend this is your brain, and where your wrist is, that is your brain stem. And brain stem is where our autonomic nervous system sits, starts. And this part, our autonomic nervous system, really is responsible for our physical survival. It is fully developed when the baby was born. And it's also called like a lizard brain, because even lizard had this. So it's common among all the animal. And its sole responsibility is to keep us alive, physically alive, right? And so it control, our heartbeat, our breathing, our blood circulation, that anything we don't have to think about. And then if you go further up, if you open up your 4 fingers on top, your thumb is kind of like your amygdala. And amygdala, later when we talk about it, is important. Amygdala basically get the signal. There's might be a danger. Okay? And then, it doesn't know whether it's a real danger or not. But you say, okay, based on my past experience, that rope looked like a snake. That might be a danger, right? And then we got the 4 fingers on top is our cortex. This is where human has the most developed part that a lot of other animals don't have. And this is where, coming and make, okay, let me analyze it, let me rationalize it, let me, plan for it. So it's all those higher function that, human especially had the most, that really make us very unique as human. And so this whole brain are meant to work together. And what's very interesting is our Western society has elevated the cortex, the four fingers on top, but have almost downgrade the importance, right, of our autonomic nervous system. But the biological fact is our cortex run about 5 times a second, and our autonomic nervous system and amygdala, it runs about 6 times a second. So trying to use your thought to control how you feel, you'll never catch up. So some people say, I have a gut feeling. I don't understand why, but I just have a gut feeling this is what I should do, right? So that gut feeling comes from your some people call it lower brain, and some people call it subconscious. I actually like to call it superconscious, because it's above what your conscious mind can even catch up, because it's just too slow for that part, right? And so so we understanding. So the way it works is our superconscious should be our master, and our cortex is the master.
Yeah, your body's got interrupted there, but so when your body's in a pause, I think maybe
body in a pause. That's right. Yeah. and so the purpose of the freeze is wonderful, is to keep us alive. We may not like it, because we may want to continue to keep going. So that is not my definition. That is a definition that I learned, is a biological definition of trauma. Right? So for anyone who experienced that, and so we can come out of it. Once you get enough rest, and then the body is like, finally, the lion is gone, right? So, okay, I think there's really no danger, and then I rest for 3 days, and my body starts to gain some strength. Okay, now I can get up and move on, and I don't have to stay in trauma. Right? But now in our society, the issue is a lot of us are in chronic stress, meaning that anything cause stress. And then eventually, I see a lot of people, they already sense that they are started to feel really depleted, but they couldn't stop whatever the responsibility, the life they're living. And then we also see people go down into freeze a lot. Now, a lot of people are in freeze. In freeze, how do you know you're in freeze? Your body feel heavy. Like there's no energy, right? Just depleted. And your thoughts are kind of dark. So a lot of depression is in this place. Your thought is like, what's the point? They don't bother me, and I want everybody to go away. I'm just going to pull the blanket over my head. I don't want to deal with the world. And from the disease perspective, a lot of chronic fatigue, autoimmune, even cancer, coming out stay in this freeze place and not able to come out. So you become in the chronic freeze. And even so, in chronic freeze, doesn't mean that some people literally just lie there, right? Cannot do anything, which turned out to be a gift, because you finally realize, okay, I have to do something to support my body so that I can come out of it. But a lot of us are, we call it functioning freeze, meaning I still go to work. I still have to do things. So even though I'm in freeze, I continue to do things, which only deplete more of your energy and resource that you already don't have. So over time, you go into a deeper and deeper and deeper freeze. And eventually you will come to a place that you just cannot move. So this is the what I have seen in myself and in a lot of people I interact with. So I think I'm going to actually pause here because I know I share a lot of information, and I want to hear from both of you. Like Peter, how does that apply to you with this knowledge? What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, and before we get to even how it applies, you were going to define, and I think you mentioned it, but it was the definition, just for clarity, the definition of trauma is when you're in freeze mode.
That's right.
So whatever things that might move you to freeze is trauma. And so when your body moves into freeze mode, you're effectively, it's a response to trauma.
That's right.
And trauma itself, something I found interesting about the way you've described this isn't a negative. This is a natural bodily response, and the freeze mode is a gift. It's a gift to have your body slow down, rest, and to replenish, or for it to conserve.
Did you come to a surrender place?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. It almost sounds like you accept the reality.
Yep.
Right? And you mentioned peace.
Mm-hmm.
Were you grateful back then? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are in heaven on earth.
Even though the news was bad.
That's right.
That's interesting.
I love the way she dissected that.
That's interesting too. Yeah.
Something that Nancy had taught early on that has just stuck with me as one of your students, and that was that you cannot experience the feeling of gratitude without being in parasympathetic state, which means this normal heaven on earth state that you're talking about. And so the moment you said you could experience gratitude, you were like, you're in parasympathetic, you're in heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it was like you're looking for those things that help you understand what's going on with the person. But to me, that was a game changer to really understand that processing feelings and needing to go through sadness, but also then processing what you are grateful for, because your surgery, the things that helped you move out of freeze mode before were truths. Because you described in your journey on that 2015 with the journal that at some point in time, 8 days in, however many days it was, you started writing down God's truths.
Right.
And you became, I think, aware of reality and the story you were telling yourself. And I think, even became grateful for those truths. Yeah. And it was a way that was your journey out of freeze, so to speak. It was the journaling of truth.
Yeah, I think expressing honestly what was happening inside of me was a key start. Because even though it was negative, it was, God, where are you? I hate this. This is terrible. I'm going to die. It was still like a part of the process for me to go there, like the reality of my situation. But I do remember at one point actually making a gratitude journal in the hospital, hooked up to everything. I mean, I couldn't get water or food unless I was hooked up. And I remember making a gratitude journal, and I remember the big change that happened, even in that state. It was like, wow, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Blessings.